also realizing as I'm getting older, and also as I'm, like, learning more with psychology things, I have what is considered probably very low, like, interoceptive awareness, which is, like, how you feel in your body and how you can feel things. Like literally, like, physical sensations.
Yeah.
And I just have never really I know people who study interoceptive sensitivity, and then as I'm doing research into it, I'm like, oh my god, I'm in the picture. Because I'm, like, the kind of person where if I have to use the bathroom, I will wait an hour. And I just, like, and it's not like, I don't really even know how to articulate it, but, like, and I'm like that with hunger or thirst or just, like, anything, and it's really kind of weird and feels very childish, but,
Sure.
like, I just, like, I don't know how to respond to my body's sensations, and genuinely, when I feel bad, oftentimes I need to, like, respond to, like, a physical need of my body, whether it's, like, food or water or sleep. Usually not pissing.
Yeah.
Usually I don't get angry if
You're
I
not
have to
piss
piss.
angry.
I have been.
Yeah, I know. Aubrey already knows. The problem is that, like, all of this, like, personal stuff, Aubrey already knows, which is annoying. But this all came up because I am changing therapists. I'm also changing therapists at the time that I just started, like, doing the dating thing again. And so I have been in nothing but constant turmoil for the past month. Every day Aubrey get a text from me going, I don't believe you. And I go, and she goes, it's fine. And I go, I don't know that it's fine. I think I'm dying. And she goes, you're not dying. And I'm like, eh. So Aubrey is struggling with internal perception, and I am struggling with external perception of every situation going on in my life right now.
It's all normal. We're all normal.
Speaking of externalizing the internal, welcome to Informed Attraction, a podcast hosted by two people with negative cantal tilt about how much we both love the substance. I'm Mackenna Goodrich.
I'm Dr. Aubrey Hoffer.
This week, we are starting a conversation about plastic surgery and other cosmetic procedures. This obviously is a huge topic, and I'm sure it will come up again as we keep making the show. But I sort of have two major questions that I'm looking to cover in this particular series. The first came from a conversation I had with my friend Mackenzie, shout out Mackenzie, I know you listen, about how cosmetic procedures are changing acting and impacting new TV shows and movies. And the second comes from a conversation Aubrey and I had a couple months ago about why so many young women are getting plastic surgery or at least filler or Botox now. Do you like that I said a couple months ago? Because we actually had that conversation last week, but this isn't going to come out for several months.
I do like that, and I understand.
A note just to say up top, I have a few notes. This is the part of the episode where we caveat the thing that we're about to talk about like 9 times before we actually start talking about it. A note that because of that second interest about why so many young women are starting to get these sort of cosmetic procedures, we are mostly going to talk about women in this episode in particular, but I do intend to talk about what's up with men in cosmetic procedures at some point in this series. Whether this is 2 or 3 episodes, I'm not sure about yet, but we will talk about like what's going on in the world of like men and cosmetic procedures before the day is done.
I have a friend who, she turned to me the other day because she's a clinician. She doesn't do any research, and she was talking to me, and she was like, oh, my boyfriend's brother is getting plastic surgery, and I feel really weird about it. And I was like, oh, is he getting jaw surgery? And she was like, how'd you know? I was like, because I am plugged in, brother. I am plugged in to what men are getting done to their body.
Because Aubrey once got yelled at by a bunch of looks-maxing guys about not believing in mewing.
That insane arc of my life where literally...
We haven't talked about this yet, have we?
I don't think so. I mean, fuck it. Tangent right now. I, on my Hoff PhD account... Oh, also, so I submitted a paper to this journal today. One of the things I had to submit with it was a potential tweet for what the journal would tweet if it got published. And it was not optional. I had to create a tweet.
You should have replied, you can only skeet about me. You cannot zeet about me.
But anyway, on my old Hoff PhD account, which, you know what, is it active? Who knows? I had made a TikTok about the trend of mewing, which is this idea that if you, like, hold your jaw a certain way or like put your tongue to the roof of your mouth, if you do that for long enough, that will give you a defined jawline. And there's no evidence to support this because that's fucking stupid and not how bones work.
This is also Aubrey talked about it in this TikTok in a much nicer way than this.
Yeah, so the TikTok itself, I was very measured, and I was basically like, hey, like, here is this letter from researchers who study stuff on this topic, who have basically said there's no evidence to support that mewing will give you a sharper jawline. And that video, it went pretty viral on Instagram, not on TikTok, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I think just because my audience on TikTok was like fat queer women, and my audience on Instagram was like men who hate me.
Yeah.
And so it went pretty viral on Instagram to the point where every day, I was getting at least like, I mean, dozens, maybe even 100 comments that were literally just telling me to kill myself, or gifs of whales, or emojis of whales. Like, basically, just every time I opened my phone and looked at the notifications, it was just an endless stream of comments saying that I am disgusting. And it, like, I have a pretty decent self-esteem, and it was a lot for me, to the point where I had to tag Mackenna in to start, like, moderating some of my content.
Yeah.
And by that, I just mean, like, deleting the things that are the most hurtful, because it was hard. It's like, anytime I opened Instagram, it was just somebody calling me disgusting.
Part of my job, my day job, is that I like moderate comments for SciShow. And so when Aubrey was dealing with all this, I was like, give me your login. I'm going to go through and delete anything that I would delete on the SciShow channel. And I just had a great time, about an hour a day, just going through and deleting a bunch of horrific comments on this video. And then obviously, like, it started to bleed out into other of Aubrey's videos too. So it was like, I was playing like incel whack-a-mole for a while.
It was honestly probably like a month.
I was logged into your Instagram for a pretty long time.
Yeah, it was probably actually more like 6 or 8 weeks even. I'm sure if I log in on it now, I probably still get comments on it occasionally, but yeah, that was a wild time. And so I guess this is all to say that there are men right now who feel a strong urge to look a specific way, and it's a standard that I think has really been proliferated through this, like, looks maxing incel community, and they are very resistant to any kind of message about either A, that those methods don't work, or B, that you don't even need those methods because it's okay to just like your body for how it is. And the response to that is incredibly vitriolic and cruel.
Yeah, and I think that, like, that gets into sort of like a lot of what I want to talk about in general, about like why we're seeing this sort of like homogenization of appearance in both media and online, and like the role that social media plays in that. Like, that's a huge part of this whole conversation about cosmetic procedures that we're going to get in today, and for however many other parts of this series this is. And I just want to be clear up top that this is not me dogging on anyone, regardless of gender, who chooses to get plastic surgery or any other cosmetic procedure. I think people can do whatever the hell they want with their bodies. And, like, Demi Moore looks fantastic and has obviously also gotten really good work done. I recently was influenced by a workout set by a Lindsay Lohan Old Navy ad, who, while she has denied any major plastic surgery, has admitted to getting Botox, saying, obviously I get Botox, everyone gets Botox. That's all fine, but I think my purpose today is to talk about how these recent shifts and trends around cosmetic procedures have affected both the media and the people who consume it.
And I think it's also very true that, you know, we're not passing judgment on anyone who chooses to get any form of cosmetic procedure. Everyone has autonomy to do what they want with their bodies and express themselves through their appearance however they want. But it's also important to be cognizant of how those desires manifest and where those stem from. And I think a lot of what we're going to be talking about today involves unpacking some of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean that you're an evil, bad person if, you know, you want to get fake tits. Get fake tits if you want, but think about it.
Yeah. So we've mentioned before that there's a lot of stuff in the TV show White Lotus that we could talk about on this show. And I want to start this little series with a moment from the first episode of season 3 that I think epitomizes A, how these conversations about plastic surgery are making their way into like newer prestige TV and movies, and B, more broadly exemplifies some of the pressure on women of all ages to get work done. So the season 3 of The White Lotus takes place in Thailand. Every season of The White Lotus is about a bunch of rich people going to a luxury resort in some place. The first season is Hawaii. The second season is Italy. This most recent season was in Thailand. It usually follows like a few different groups of people. And so this moment comes the first time we see old friends Jacqueline, played by Michelle Monaghan, Kate, played by Leslie Bibb, and Lori, played by Carrie Coon, alone in their little luxury villa. I watched this scene on HBO Max this week as a refresher, but the only place I can find it not on HBO Max is through a plastic surgeon's TikTok. So, Aubrey, I'm going to send you, this is only the beginning of the scene, and I'll go over what happens in the back half of it, but I'm going to send you, and we're just going to watch the part up until the man starts talking, because I don't really want to listen to him talk.
I mean, I can go turn HBO Max on my TV and
You're
walk
fine.
away from the podcasting setup.
It's okay.
All right, I'm going to watch this.
You look amazing. You look amazing. You look incredible. You look incredible. You look the same as you did 20 years ago. Oh, okay. Both do. Who's your doctor? Shut up. Who's your doctor? I don't know why you want to know, because he's not as good as your doctor. I haven't done anything. Except for, the basics.
The basics.
All right, I've listened up until the man who's made himself a little tiny guy nodding along to content he didn't create, which is the best form of media.
Yeah. And then he talks about it for like a minute afterwards. He is a plastic surgeon, I think is important. But anyway, Aubrey, what happened in the first 30 seconds of the scene that you watched?
We've got two blonde white women who are playing a little bit of compliment tag with themselves, being like, oh my god, you look amazing. No, you look amazing. You look amazing. Who's your doctor? And then there's sort of like a little back and forth of like, I haven't had work done. I just have had, the basics, a little bit of maintenance.
Yeah. And I think what's important here is that so there's the two of them. That's Jacqueline and Kate. And then there's the third woman who's there, Lori, and they have to sort of remember to compliment Lori, who I think it is obvious has not had work done, both from the differences in how their faces look and also just from the body language.
See, I don't think it's that obvious because that actress is very attractive.
Well, Carrie Coon is very beautiful, but I do think she has more fine lines on her face and stuff like that. But I also watched the whole scene, so I saw a lot more of her face.
It's also high def, whereas TikTok is a little fuzzier.
Yeah. And also but just her body language in that scene is she's very uneasy. Mm-hmm. She remains quiet. She is pouring wine the whole time and can't engage in this conversation because she is not getting work done. Mm-hmm. And so White Lotus in general is a satirization of the sort of ultra wealthy people who end up going to these extremely expensive and luxurious resorts. And in this moment, the show is satirizing self-erasure through tweakments, especially among women in privileged circles, as a part of the fight to maintain youth and attractiveness. Aubrey, do you know what tweakments are?
I mean, through context clues, I'm going to assume that it's meant to be little beauty tweaks or procedures that aren't meant to be a full facelift, or even probably extensive Botox, but a little here, a little there.
Yeah, so that's pretty much exactly correct. And it's just the thing that they're talking about in that clip about just doing the basics, doing maintenance. So tweakments are largely what we're going to be talking about today and throughout the series. Tweakments are non-surgical cosmetic or aesthetic procedures that soften lines and wrinkles, improve pigmentation, tighten sagging skin, add volume to faces, and adjust the proportions of facial features. They are mostly temporary procedures. They involve injectable treatments, lasers, chemical skin peels, but they very specifically do not involve any scalpels and do not require going under general anesthesia. So we're thinking about things here like filler, fat injections, fat dissolving injections, and thread lifting. But this umbrella can also include things like microneedling and skin peels. And if you, dear listener, are sitting here going, what the fuck does any of that mean? That's okay that you don't know. It's really okay.
Well, that's what's interesting because I've had like microneedling and I've had a few skin peels done. And those I think were always framed to me as like quote unquote preventative.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to talk about baby Botox, which is also framed as preventative.
My mom wanted me to have Botox done when I was 17.
Well, you know, unfortunately, that is becoming more and more common, but your mom was ahead of the trend on that, because that trend didn't really start with having younger girls get Botox until, like, the late, 2018-19.
Do you think you'll get Botox?
Do I think I'll get Botox? So what's funny is I almost was prescribed Botox for my migraines, and then I didn't do it. And a dear friend does get Botox in her neck to deal with some muscle relaxing things. At this point, I don't imagine I would get any cosmetic surgery. But I'm also 27. I had to think about that. I'm 27. And so my opinion on that could change as I get older. But at this point, like, I have not really... I used to want a nose job for a really long time. I kind of famously don't like my nose. But now all of it just, like, seems like too much effort. I already dye my hair and get my nails done and get tattoos. I don't want to do another whole fucking thing. You know what I mean?
I have always hated my breasts, and also my entire life. My mom told me that when I turned 18 that she would pay for me to get a boob job, and then she didn't.
Oh, no.
But even, I don't know. I think that's the thing, is that it's like, I don't really like my boobs, but do I want to spend thousands of dollars to have a procedure done where maybe I would like my boobs more after? But
Yeah.
I also, like, I don't even think I would want implants. I think that if I were to get anything, I would want, like a breast lift.
Yeah.
But even then, it's like, is that worth it? I don't know. That feels like that's not worth, because how much is it? Probably fucking $10,000?
Yeah. In the depths of my, like, real bad body image stuff, I was like, if I just could get a little bit of liposuction on my stomach, everything would be okay. And now I'm
Me
like...
too, bestie.
And now I'm like, actually, everything would not be okay, because that's how I felt in, like, 2018 when I was extremely thin. And so it's like, it wouldn't change. This is kind of why I started by saying about how we externalize the internal, because most of these things are not going to change the way that I actually feel about my body, because I just, the problem is not what I look like, it's how I feel about what I look like.
Oh yeah, I mean, doing body image work, like, I feel like the thing that I'm constantly saying and reiterating is that most people who have issues with their bodies, it's not actually about your body. Like, I actually think for the vast majority of people, it's not really about their body.
Well, and for me, like, so much of some of my body image stuff was healed by, like, changing how I am aesthetically. Like, I just mentioned, like, I have cool hair colors, I get my nails done, I have tattoos, and all of those things, like, I think improved my feelings about myself as much as, like, anything I could do that would fall under the cosmetic procedure, like, umbrella would.
I think the only thing for me is that I have composite bondings on my upper teeth. And because I had them done when I was 16, which I hate that my mother made that choice for me, they're at the point now where they're starting to be a little bit more brittle, and one of them has cracked a little bit. And basically, I, like, have to get veneers at some point, because that's just, like, how it is. So at some point I have to pay probably $10,000 to get veneers, and I will have to beg a dentist not to give me 2 white teeth. Because I hate it. They look too... I hate when people have, like, weird 2 white chunky veneers, and then I know somebody's gonna fucking do me like that, and I don't want to be done like that.
Do you know whose veneers I kind of fuck with?
Who?
Ed Larson's.
Oh my God.
I don't know. He mentioned having veneers on one of the last podcast streams, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that, but also like Ed's teeth do look really good.
Let me see his. Let me look at his little mug.
Look at Ed's mouth.
Let me look at his little mug and his little smile. Honestly, I might just show a picture of this to my dentist when I have to get veneers at some point, because they look good.
They look like good, just like good teeth.
Yeah, they just look like you have nice teeth. Like, because you know exactly what I mean when I say some people, like Miley Cyrus.
She is someone who I think probably has had the buccal fat removal thing
100%.
done. And that is a thing that I would say of all the things we're going to talk about over this series, I'm a little the most anti the buccal fat removal, because I think it just mostly makes people look older. And that's like, for me, Miley Cyrus is someone who I think some of the work she's had done has just made her look a lot older than she actually is. And
well, it's making her look gaunt, because she naturally has a round face, and we hate round faces now, I guess.
We do hate them.
And so now it's like you get these treatments, and as a result, you end up looking very gaunt, and it makes you look elderly or skeletal in a way that I find kind of off-putting. Again, that's me saying that I find it off-putting. I'm not saying that you have to find it off-putting or that you shouldn't do the things you want to do, but I'm just saying I don't like it. It's my podcast. I'm allowed to say it.
Well, we're going to talk about a little bit about like what this sort of like aesthetic that it feels like all of these sort of women are trying to achieve is. And I actually think that buccal fat removal, the gauntness, is like a huge highlight and feature of it, because it's this whole thing about having like sharp, obvious cheekbones. And I do think on the majority of people, if that is not naturally your face shape, me and Aubrey are two people with naturally round faces. If that's like, if I would look strange, because it just wouldn't look like I wouldn't look like myself.
Yeah. I would not be serving. I wouldn't be serving cunt.
So this is from an article by Ruby Conway for Days Digital called Hollywood is Getting Meta About Plastic Surgery. I'm going to send it to my dear friend Aubrey to read.
To keep becoming a woman is so much self-erasing work, writes C.J. Hauser in her book, The Crane Wife. In our era of increasingly normalized tweakments and cosmetic work, the expectation to control and mold one's appearance continues to intensify. This optimization work, or self-erasure, define it as you will, where the body's individualism is chipped away at bit by bit, is finally being confronted on screen. By spotlighting the grueling mental and physical labor of modern beauty routines, cinema and TV are illuminating the gendered standards frequently rendered invisible by ever-advancing cosmetic procedures.
And that's why, like, I'd note that, like, Laurie's discomfort in the scene from The White Lotus, Carrie Coon's character, highlights a divide about, like, opting out of these cosmetic norms versus embracing surgical maintenance. Has something to do with like maintaining a sense of identity, because obviously in this scene it's 3 hot blonde women, but 2 of them do look more similar to each other than the third, and it's the 2 who have been getting this work done, because it does do this sort of self-erasing where you're trying to adhere to a certain aesthetic. And this kind of goes back to what we were just talking about, the buccal fat removal stuff. Like, it's like you are trying to get your face to look a certain way, which ends up making you look like a lot of other people who are also trying to look that way.
Well, it makes me think a lot about my mom, who is someone who her entire life has really been predicated on her being a hot young blonde, and she's now almost 60, and it is kind of an entire loss of identity for her to not be that anymore. And I've noticed for most of my life the way she's attempted to cope with that, and it's through like dressing in clothes from Forever 21 and like doing her hair like how the 20-year-old girls at ASU do, and just like doing these things that, I don't know, it's hard because like on one hand I think that my mom is just someone who like is youthful and wants to like act and express in a youthful way, but I think that there's a difference between like my mom wearing her little overalls because they're cute and fun, and like the kind of egregious amounts of like treatments that she's engaged in order to like not have wrinkles.
Right. Well, we talked about this a little bit too with I forget what magazine it was, but those pictures of Rob McElhenney and Caitlin Olsen that came out, and it was like they look so much like Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively now. And it's just like watching the ways in which like they've sort of just morphed into this other couple that they're friends with. And it just is a thing that's such a striking departure from like the way that they were when they first started on It's Always Sunny. And it's like, I would argue, like Caitlyn looks almost the exact same age still, but it's because she has clearly had some of this like tweakment work done and also has just become more proximal to this like...
I don't even think hers are tweakments. I think she's had like full-on plastic surgery.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, it's a part of this thing of like the ways in which like she looks less like... To me, she now looks less like Caitlin Olsen and more like Blake Lively and all the other women in Hollywood, because it's like that's part of the goals of these treatments is to adhere to a specific aesthetic, and like it is working, whether that working is a positive or a negative.
Well, right, like, it's the whole thing of, like, Instagram face, and, like, all of these girls...
Oh, boy, if we're not going to talk about Instagram face today, Aubrey, everyone's going to hate how often I say the word Instagram face and iPhone face today.
But, like, that's the thing, is that Josh I'll sometimes show him, like, an influencer, and he's like, why do they all look the same? Why do they all look like that? And it's like, well, they all go to the same doctors, buddy. That's
the goal. And that is, they are achieving the goal. Like, that is their goal. Like, their goal is to all look like each other. Whether they will admit to that or not, the goal is for them to all look like each other.
Well, that's like the whole Kardashian ethos, right? Is that, like, everyone wanted to look like the Kardashians, and then the Kardashians sort of fell out of vogue, and then now the Kardashians are trying to look like the influencer girls, yeah. And it's just this weird, cyclical, like, everyone wants to look like each other, but then when somebody breaks the mold and the standard changes a little bit, now everybody wants to be that, and then it's just going to shift again. And basically, If you have the most money and power, you're going to be able to keep up. If not, you're shit out of luck.
Right. So Carrie Coon, who plays Lori on this season of The White Lotus, has talked about the fact that she hasn't had any cosmetic procedures or plastic surgery done. Aubrey, I have a little Twitter exchange from last year for us to read. I will play the role of man on Twitter, and you can play the role of Carrie Coon. This is from @ZFresh7 on November 4th of 2024. Yo, how does Carrie Coon simultaneously look 35 and 55? TBC, she's fine as hell, but she looks old and young at the same time. And Carrie Coon responds,
"Thank you. I totally agree, and I can answer this one. 43, generally healthy, 2 little kids and not enough rest, no Botox or filler. Have a marvelous day."
I think that's kind of iconic of her.
It is iconic. And I will say, here's the thing. Carrie Coon, I fully believe that she has not had work done. I do believe that she is wealthy.
Yes.
I do believe that she is wealthy and probably has an amazing skincare routine that probably costs like $1,000.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's
not to say that like she looks like a regular person. She is still a celebrity. But I think it's notable that like they cast like Michelle Monaghan and Leslie Bibb do look different than Carrie Coon.
Absolutely.
Because they have, I think, more obviously both had a lot of these like skin smoothing Botox situations. Like Leslie Bibb is 51 and she has no wrinkle, not a wrinkle to be friggin' found, man. Like, and I like honestly slay. And she's married to Sam Rockwell. I want to be Leslie Bibb when I grow up. The only problem with that is that she's from North Dakota, which I don't believe is a real state. So I don't know that she might not be a real person. She might actually be an alien, because anyone claiming to be from North Dakota, I don't think you are of this planet.
Yeah, she's very beautiful.
Yeah. It's like she, like that what I think is so interesting to me about that scene is Carrie Coon is the youngest of the three of them. She is 7 years younger than Leslie Bibb. She does look the oldest.
Yeah.
So The White Lotus was not the only piece of media that came out last year that directly poked and prodded at the pressure on women to get plastic surgery, especially as they age. Films like Baby Girl and The Substance use cosmetic procedures as a part of the plot. The Substance is a literal body horror film.
I love you, The Substance. You were my top movie of 2024. I even hit up the makeup artist the day after I saw it on Instagram. And I was like, hello, I love your work so much. And he was just a random French man who was like, ho, thank you.
He replied?
Yeah.
Oh my God, wait, that's so cool.
he has like no, well, because I saw The Substance like the week it came out, and then I literally remember looking up the makeup artist after, found his Instagram. He had like no followers at the time, and then I just commented on whatever his most recent post was, and I was like, just saw The Substance, I loved it, your work's amazing, hope you can post like, BTS shot soon. And he was like, yes, I will, thank you so much, it was such a labor of love, blah blah blah.
Yes, I will, thank you so much, it was such a labor of love.
Yes. I was just you know what, it's crazy, I was just thinking today, I don't even know how the thought came into my head, but I was like, Mackenna's probably really good with French. Because I remember, because I
French.
Yes, because I remember you taking French in high school, but I was just driving in my car today, and then for no reason my brain was like, Mackenna's good at French, and then just kept going, and then it came up right now.
Yeah. I have to send, whenever we need to like reach out to French researchers through SciShow, it's my job to email them.
Love that.
So The Substance, for those who don't know, features a biotech substance, the eponymous The Substance, that allows Demi Moore's character to literally split into a younger self, played by Margaret Qualley, dramatizing society's both fear of aging and treatment of older women through these sequences of really grotesque transformations. The Substance, I saw it with my friend Isabel and my friend Gigi. Isabel and I both hadn't seen it before. Gigi, it was her third time seeing it, so she was just giggling and kicking her little feet the whole time. I felt new emotions that day. I felt emotions I had never felt before. And I was like, wow, what a treat to be at the time 26 years old and feeling new feelings for the first time.
I love it. I can't believe it was a 4 out of 5 for you and not a 5 out of 5.
I just thought it was too long.
I loved it.
The Substance is one of just the wildest movies I've ever seen. I'm a baby, Aubrey isn't. And honestly, the part that fucked me up the most, spoiler alert, is very early on in the movie, Margaret Qualley has to sew Demi Moore back up. Like, okay, so basically the first time Margaret Qualley like emerges, she emerges through a gigantic slit in Demi Moore's spine. And then Margaret Qualley has to sew her back up with a giant needle and thread. And that was the, bar none, hardest part of the entire movie for me to watch.
Yeah, I'm going to start sending ISIS beheading videos in chat.
We're not doing that. I'm admitting to you that I had no problems watching the absolutely insane ending to that movie, but I just don't like watching people get sewn back up.
My main ick that I really struggle with in any kind of horror movie is anything with fingernails. I had a fingernail avulsion happen to me this past year, and it was horrible.
So did I. We both had a fingernail avulsion happen this past year.
Twin 'em.
In contrast, in Baby Girl, the sequences where Nicole Kidman's character does all of this rigorous work on her body and her mind is not like played as horror, but it is played as extremely eerie. In Baby Girl, Nicole Kidman is basically like girl Jeff Bezos. And in it, her character does Botox, cryotherapy, and more of these sort of cosmetic and wellness treatments, portraying beauty routines as a part of the hustle culture and reflecting robotic standards of perfection. While it's certainly not as gory as what we see in The Substance, I think that both of these movies are trying to expose the mental and physical toll of beauty work and how it becomes a form of self-violence. These films force viewers to examine their role in perpetuating beauty norms and also make it clear how seemingly undetectable treatments can still be violent. I am sending Aubrey another quote from that same Dazed Digital article to read aloud to everyone now.
I was trying to look up, every time I look up a celebrity, I look up celebrity's name and then before and after so that I can try to
looking up.
I was looking up Nicole Kidman because I've heard some people talk about the work that she's had done in really negative ways, and I honestly think I think that there's certain photos that are unflattering, but I think that for the most part, I wouldn't say she's botched at all.
No, I don't think she to me, she is someone who has clearly had work done. I mostly notice it when someone has had, this is kind of what we're getting into. I mostly notice it when someone's had a lot of Botox and they have a hard time moving their face because it eliminates their micro expressions and acting, and that is where I really notice it, is when they can't move their face enough to actually do the full range of emotions on camera. Okay, so this is a quote from that same Dazed digital article.
Where cosmetic procedures were once vehemently denied by women, procedures are now being confronted head-on. To see Nicole Kidman reclined in a surgery chair, Botox being injected into her face, a blue-tinged bruise marking her cheek in its wake, felt like something of a watershed moment. Of course, she, actor or character, is getting Botox. The scene seems to say, it's the new standard. Tackling these topics is a meta move, aided by the casting choices of Kidman and Moore, an intentional nod to the same pressures and public scrutiny these actors have faced for their own appearances, particularly when it comes to their dabbling with cosmetic procedures. When Moore walked for Fendi Couture in 2021, for example, comments on her botched face work came in thick and fast.
This next comment has nothing to do with anything, but Harris Dickinson's character in Baby Girl reminded me so much of an evil man that I dated in college that I personally had a sort of transcendent experience in the theater. I know a lot of people didn't like that movie. It has like a 2.8 on Letterboxd, but unfortunately, this is my specific female gaze because I also just kind of keep dating that man. Anyway, something to unpack in therapy.
Free yourself from him.
No, I'm working on it. But moving on. In addition to these specific casting choices, I think it's also important to note that both of these movies were written and directed by women in their 40s. Coralie Farge, who made The Substance, is 48, and Helena Rain, who made Baby Girl, is 49. And they've both talked about the fact that both of these movies came from their interest in women's relationships with their bodies and their own experience as women in their 40s. I was thinking about this when you were talking about the Nicole Kidman and her plastic surgery. I think the thing that, like, both for me made certain scenes in Baby Girl hard and also made it hard for a lot of people is there's a scene in Baby Girl where she is butt naked and is like clearly so uncomfortable with this man seeing her body. And I think it gets back to the thing we were saying that like no amount of plastic surgery is going to make you happy and like it is all like mostly internal to external, but there is still something I think very, very difficult if you are not someone who looks like this to be okay with this, because what's hard about that scene is Nicole Kidman is so thin and has, I am assuming, I don't know, but I am assuming based on how they looked, breast implants, and like, I mean, she is like no % body fat. And it was one of those things I was sitting in the theater and I was like, I'm having such a hard time connecting with this character because she's so traditionally fucking attractive. And I know that that's like part of the point that the movie is making. Helena Rain is what was an actor. She is also someone who is very traditionally attractive. But I was struggling with like the Nicole Kidman of it all in this movie. And I had a lot of thoughts about like how I would have felt about the movie had it been a woman like Rosamund Pike playing that role, who while still like obnoxiously beautiful, or even like one of these Michelle Monaghan or Leslie Bibb women who like while they're still obnoxiously beautiful, they feel less like, I don't know, tiny. But maybe it's just because I as a tall, curvy woman have a complex about tiny women.
How about a Melissa McCarthy type?
Hey, oh my god, if Baby Girl had starred Melissa McCarthy, can you imagine how crazy that would have been? That would have been awesome.
Okay, legitimately, that would have made that movie 10 times better.
Yeah. Okay, also, her husband in the movie, who is played by Antonio Banderas, is basically Jamie Lloyd. Like, he's directing, like, this weird-ass production of Hedda Gabler in it, with, like, screens and stuff, and I literally was like, oh my god, literally, it's Jamie Lloyd.
Our friend,
Jamie Lloyd. Farge wrote we're not friends with Jamie Lloyd. That feels like I'm not that many degrees separated from him. I don't know Jamie Lloyd. I know people who know Jamie Lloyd. Farge wrote the prize-winning script to The Substance after turning 40, as she grappled with feelings of obsolescence and inadequacy. I feel like this kind of gets back to what you were just talking about with your mom in some ways. And so, Aubrey, I'm going to send you this quote to read from Coralie Farge.
I had these massive thoughts that I had reached the age where I wasn't going to be useful or interesting to anyone anymore. The violence of those thoughts was so strong that I had to do something about it. Otherwise, it would totally destroy and crush me.
And she's in general talked a lot about how The Substance is to her ultimately about like the violence of control. Aubrey, we probably could do a whole episode just on The Substance, but any other thoughts on The Substance before we move on?
Oh, I mean, I will probably use The Substance in classes that I teach in the future, legitimately, because I think that it so well illustrates so many things that I research, especially when it comes to like appearance changing behaviors and things like that. And I don't know, I just love it. I love it. I think about it a lot, actually, and I think it's a fantastic film.
I famously did not like Nora. And so I sat through the Oscars this year, just deeply sad watching a movie about older women in the industry lose every award to a movie that I ultimately think is not a good depiction of women.
The substance was robbed. I hate you, Academy. I always have.
AcademyAwards@gmail.com. Hello, it is me, Aubrey, again. So next I do want to get into this rise in filler, especially among younger actors, is sort of doing to acting in Hollywood right now. The rise of what's often called Instagram face or iPhone face, high cheekbones, plump lips, tiny nose, frozen, flawless forehead is starting to reshape the entire landscape of screen acting. And I think the cosmetic procedures that sort of help define this era of cosmetic procedures among actors are Botox, lip filler, and buccal fat removal, as well as whatever the threading thing is where you like use what is that called? Face threading. I was reading about this right before we started recording.
Like for hair removal?
No. So it's called a thread lift, and they put a thread under the skin to pull the thread into position, basically. So it's like a
facelift?
It's like a facelift without them cutting into your face.
Oh, okay, but it has the same effect.
Yeah. So it's like a facelift that's just like a subtle change. People call it a lunchtime facelift sometimes because it's a quick procedure. The ones that you often see people talking about online specifically are the cat or fox eye thread lift, and it's the ones where you lift the eyebrows towards the temple to like give you the sort of cat-like almondy look. It's the one that you often hear people trying to be like, Bella Hadid definitely gets this done.
I mean, yeah, that's what all the supermodels have.
Right. So that I would say that one also falls into this category of like cosmetic procedures that really define. And that's why I tend, I originally had thought about titling the series to be about plastic surgery, but really it's about these like tweakments. It's about these non-surgical procedures that like in some ways are more accessible to young women because it's a lot easier to convince your parents to give you money to go get a lip flip than it is to be like, pay $9,000 for me to have a nose job.
I have a question. So we're in 2025 right now. I feel as though like we now have enough time to look back at the 2010s and really see like what were the like trends in beauty of the 2010s. And I really do characterize it with like the Kardashian face of like literally the Kim Kardashian look. Do we think that the 2020s standard, like how do we think that is shaping up to be different? I think the body types are very clearly different, where in the 2010s it was, about the thickness, and then 2020s are sort of back to thinness. But I wonder with like the facial features, what the differences are. I feel like that elongation of the eyes is big. I feel like noses are just getting tinier and tinier.
Yeah. I think it's still this very like snatched thing that was going on in the 2010s, but it's supposed to be in this way that's like effortlessness.
Exactly, because in the 2010s, it was about having the makeup that made you look snatched. Now it's about looking snatched, but not appearing to have any makeup on.
It's the clean girl aesthetic, as it were. Because, we had in the, I have so many pictures of me from end of high school, early college, where I have the most amount of makeup in my eyebrows, the smokiest of eyes, and now I'm not supposed to wear makeup anymore, and it's very confusing.
I still do.
I say, as I'm like obviously not wearing makeup right now.
I love makeup.
I do too. It's very fun. I wear it all the time. I just don't wear it every day. Because I used to feel like I had to wear it every day, and now I'm like, I can choose to wear it. But sometimes when I wing out my little eyeliner, I'm like, all these fucking 21-year-olds think I'm the devil because I have winged eyeliner on.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I'll be a millennial to my grave. You can take my cat eyeliner out of my cold, dead hand. It is
I love you, my
best
eyeliner
look.
pens.
I love it. I love my eyeliner. I've never actually been too big of a fan of like very contoured face, but I love eyeliner and I love a dark lipstick.
Yeah. So aesthetic procedures like Botox, filler, and buccal fat removal are everywhere in the entertainment industry and not just among older actors. Increasingly, young actors and young people in general are getting work done. Between 2019 and 2022, the number of people 19 years or younger receiving neuromodular injections increased 75%. And their use rose 71% in adults 20 to 29.
And those neuromodular injections are like the pinpoint Botox, or
it's anything that's like anything that's like Botox.
Okay.
So Botox, Dysport, Xeomin, it's anything that you're using to treat like wrinkles, frown lines, crow's feet. Yeah, so that's so...
You don't even have those at like 19.
Correct. This is when we're going to get into baby Botox.
Cheryl wanted me to be her.
So we're also just, but to be clear, Aubrey, it's a great question because so neuromodulators are specifically like Xeomin, Botox, Dysport. We're not talking about fillers here. So like we're not talking about like Juvederm or anything like that. So Dr. Stephen Williams, who is a plastic surgeon, says that the increase is driven primarily by preventative or baby Botox, injecting Botox into an area on the face that has no defined wrinkles with the goal of keeping them from forming. He said in this CNN article that I was reading that like he sees why people are doing it, but he still doesn't recommend anyone under the age of 21 beginning Botox because he was like, you can just spend your money better elsewhere. I can't remember if it was him or someone else in this article, but one of the surgeons who they talked to was like, go to Europe for a summer. Don't waste your money on Botox. when you're 20 years old.
Well, or it reminds me of people taking retinol when they're like in their early 20s. And I mean, I'm 29 and I don't even think that I should be doing retinol. I mean, maybe not ever, but at least not right now.
The name of this article was, "It's Not Just Sephora Kids. 20-somethings are paying up for cosmetic procedures to prevent aging." Because you might remember, dear listeners, when like kids were obsessed with getting drunk elephant skin products. And it's like, just skincare is getting marketed and like anti-aging is getting marketed towards younger and younger people. And I think that that's like part of this like, oh, fuck, I need to start getting Botox now. And it's like, I don't know. I'm 27 and I don't really even have any like fine lines on my face. I have like a little bit around my little forehead from furrowing my brow in rage so much, I guess. But like, I don't know, give me fucking personality.
This line that I get when I furrow my eyebrows, unfortunately, this is still kind of there when I don't do it. And I'm like, ooh, you know, but I don't know.
No, I don't get rid of it.
I don't want to get rid of it. I think about certain people who I know, especially men who I know, and I look at their faces and I like those parts of their appearance.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I have a better body image and self-esteem than I think I give myself credit for, mainly because since I study these things, I feel like anytime I have an insecurity that it means that I'm a hypocrite and that I should be killed instantly. But I don't know. I see features on other people and I think that they're lovely, and then I just think about myself. And then I think I might actually.
So the problem with all of these types of like the problem with all these increase of these neuromodular injections in acting is because part of what happens when you get Botox injections and other injections is you lose some of the ability to create micro expressions in your face. And acting, especially on film, is all about expression. And that means these micro expressions are incredibly important to film acting. I feel like the first show where I really heard people sort of noting this whole phenomenon about like Instagram face, iPhone face online was Daisy Jones and the Six. Daisy Jones and the Six is a musical drama series based on a novel by Taylor Jenkins Reid.
It's not very good. I've read it. It kind of sucks.
Rhea is just a hater this episode, besides about the substance.
I know. India made me read it because India was like, oh, it's so good. And then I read it and I was like, oh, this is kind of bad, actually.
I wonder what you would think about Stereophonic, which is the play that is also 100% based on Fleetwood Mac.
I'd probably like it better.
Yeah. I liked it. I liked it. So it's set in the 1970s. It follows the rise and fall of a fictional rock band, charting their success, behind-the-scenes struggles, and ultimate breakup at the height of their fame. It's told in a documentary-style format, and the show focuses on Daisy, a talented but troubled singer-songwriter, and her volatile creative partnership with Billy Dunn, the band's frontman. And like I said, it's definitely based on Fleetwood Mac.
I thought that you were going to say the actress from The Boys.
Oh, well, yes. That's a different thing, though. Because what I'm specifically talking about here is some viewers watching Daisy Jones and the Six comment that the actresses look like they had iPhone face.
Oh, yeah. Like,
a
they
way
don't look
of
like
saying,
they fit the era. Yeah.
Right. Saying that they had seen an iPhone before and were not alive during the 1970s.
Yeah.
What Aubrey is referencing is Erin Moriarty, over the past few seasons of the TV show The Boys, has clearly gotten plastic surgery and looks extremely different from how she started the show to now.
And then it's interesting because all the comments that I see about it are just men being like, she looked so good before, why would she ever change? And then it's like, okay. And then you go to another page where there's another image of another woman and they're like, she's a fucking disgusting cow. And it's like, God, I wonder why people do these things.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Who is the person in Daisy Jones and the Six? Who's the Daisy Jones character?
It's so funny because I can't remember her name, but I can remember everyone else in it. Riley Keough.
I literally was gonna guess that it was her. Isn't she? She's Elvis's granddaughter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good for her.
Yes, she is the eldest child of Lisa Marie Presley and the eldest grandchild of ye old Elvis. Other people in that show. So it really was less about Riley herself when it came to Daisy Jones and the Six, who people were citing as having iPhone face. It was really, the main complaint was about Camilla. I don't know how to say her last name. Maroney. She was the one who people were like, she has seen an iPhone before. I feel like I saw less about that when it came to Riley. I saw a little bit about Riley, and then I feel like
she totally does. She looks like she has only seen an iPhone. That's hilarious. The Camilla.
Yeah, and then
she's it's like she's comically out of place.
And I think that Suki Waterhouse does not have this problem, in my opinion. I think Suki Waterhouse looks like she could be in the 70s.
Suki Waterhouse should not be a name that a white woman has.
It is tough that she is a white woman named Suki, but you know, it's also not. That's her middle name. Her first name is Alice.
Yeah.
I also, when I was doing research on this online, I kept seeing people use Euphoria as an example of this, which was honestly kind of surprising to me. Like, to me, most people on that show are very I feel like people always say this about Sydney Sweeney, but I feel like Sydney Sweeney is very emotive with her face, and that's to me also because they look the ages they are in real. Like, do I think that Sydney Sweeney looks like a 16-year-old? No. Do I think she looks her age? Yes. Like, it was just interesting to me that people were citing Euphoria, where I feel like all the actresses on Euphoria are rather expressive with their face.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that that's a strange example to give.
I mean, it's just because it's so, like, glossy and glamorous and, like, stylized. That's why people bring it up. And, like, people just love to dunk on Euphoria. And listen, I'll dunk on Euphoria. But, like, I don't think that that's a valid critique of that show.
Who's the one, like, porn star that was on Euphoria that's had all the work done?
Her Chloe Cherry.
Okay.
But even her, it's like, with her, it's like, it's just her lips are real big.
Yeah.
I also saw Emily in Paris cited as another example, but ever since Netflix set up that thing where you can't password share, I haven't seen a single Netflix original, so sorry to Lily Collins, but I can't comment on this one.
My mom loves Emily in Paris.
I don't know that I know anyone who watches it.
My mom.
So many of my friends are going to listen to this episode and be like, McKenna, I fucking love Emily in Paris. I'm going to go, I'm sorry, we never talk about it.
Just watch Sex and the City. It's way better.
Yo, and I have and I will. So,
Do you know that you are a Carrie?
What? How? What? What do you mean? Aubrey, you are the only person who has ever said that to me in my entire life. I get told I'm a, what the fuck's her name all the time.
You're gonna say Miranda, which doesn't make any sense because I'm Miranda, but alright.
I get told I'm Miranda constantly.
You and I have a different relationship than you have with other people because
hey, yeah.
There are so many times where it's like, oh, what what ice cream is Mackenna? And I'm like, oh, you're Rocky Road. And you're like, everyone says that I'm mint chip. What the fuck, Aubrey? And it's like...
This is not a thing that has ever happened.
No.
This exact scenario has literally never happened. No one has ever called me mint chocolate chip ice cream.
No, but like, I swear to God, there's times where like our group chat, like we assign little things to people, and then I'm like, Mackenna's this one, and everyone's like, no, Aubrey, you're fucking wrong, and I'm like, I see the little essence of your soul better than anybody else. So
I'm only offended by this if you were the one who called me a poodle.
you're not a poodle. That's just wrong.
Okay, thank you. I am hold on. Why am I a Carrie? Sorry, I actually can't let this go.
Well, I think so. I'm watching the first season of Sex and the City right now, and I just feel that you are in a similar phase of life as Carrie right now, and
Okay.
you're with your girls, you're in New York, now you're dating again, you're on little adventures, and that's what Carrie does, she goes on little adventures.
Okay. I feel like you could describe so many of the women on that show as that way, but sure.
Well, no, because like Charlotte is a prude, Samantha is
Fucking.
she's fucking. And Miranda, I have just seen myself as Miranda for so long, I cannot imagine.
And you don't think we could be the same?
I don't think, we are not the same.
Okay, alright. Well, Jesus!
And here's the thing. If neither of us can be Charlotte and neither of us can be Samantha, Miranda is the more introverted and Carrie is the more extroverted. So at the very barest bones of it, that's where I can get this from.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's fine. It's fine. It's just funny because I think it's because I just have women in my life who are so much more Carrie-coded than my goblin ass is. That it's very hard for me to like internalize that, but I'll take it. Because the whole thing is that the way that Aubrey sees me is so much more like, I don't know. You do see me as more like girly, I think, than other people. Because so many people in my life are like, Mackenna's the weird little guy, and I'm like, nah.
I don't know. I think, I mean, I've said this before. It is because I've known you since you were 14 years old, and no matter how old you get, a little bit, I'm always going to see a precious child in front of me.
It's like having a mother who is like a year and a half older than me.
But you don't see, like, when you look at me, you don't see me being like in high school.
No.
All right, I guess I'm different.
Yeah, I just see you. I've seen you. I feel like I see you at every age we are currently at. Everything, everywhere, all at once. I shockingly took to Reddit to see what the people were talking about. And the big thing that I saw cited on a lot of Reddit threads were the amount of veneers and filler in 1883 and 1923, which are both prequels to the TV show Yellowstone, as being distracting.
That I believe. And the veneers I actually do think are distracting, because if I am watching even a movie from the 90s, one of the things I notice is that the actors don't have perfect teeth.
Yeah. The perfect teeth thing is definitely a part. I would say the veneers are also a part of this like current aesthetic that people are going for.
They're too white.
Aubrey, I'm going to send you 2 Reddit threads, and you can just take a few minutes to peruse them and see if you have any reactions to anything. So I'm just going to send you them. You can just do some scrolling, see if you have any thoughts and feelings on any of this. While Aubrey does that, I will say that makeup is also definitely a part of this problem when we're talking about like people's faces not looking like they belong in period pieces. I feel like sometimes in modern period pieces, they do their makeup in a way that is natural for the 2020s and not the actual time period they're working in. They're applying a modern lens to what natural is, and it ends up pulling their faces out of the time period instead of keeping it in them.
And this is something that I think has always been the case, because I remember distinctly when I was in English class at like 15. We read some short story that took place in the 1800s, and my teacher showed us some like 20-minute like TV special or something that was a version of that short story, but it was made in the 80s, and it was interesting watching it because I was like, oh, like this looks so 80s despite being set in the 1800s. So it's like, I think a little bit of that, like just modern for whatever the time period is, like makeup styling or even some choices like with costuming, it's always going to have a little bit of that, I think.
Yeah. I think a good example of that from one of those two links that I sent you is there's a picture of one of the girls from a season of American Horror Story, Addison Timlin, an American Horror Story, and I think that like they filled in her eyebrows too much. And so it doesn't look, her eyebrows look too sculpted to be in the 1700s.
I always like when people talk about the Tiffany problem, which is that the name Tiffany is as old as like the 12th century, but if you had a piece of media from the 1500s and someone was named Tiffany, we'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I also think comparing like this picture of Addison Timlin from American Horror Story to like this picture of Winona Ryder from The Crucible, like the lip filler does create this issue too, because like, my fellow white people, we just did not have big juicy lips naturally. So Aubrey does, but
speak for yourself, brother.
Aubrey does, but it's like, you know what lip filler lips look like, and it's like you can tell when they're one was born with and someone received a little bit of Juvederm to make happen.
My flex is that sometimes hot women in Scottsdale will ask me where I get my lips done, and I say they're natural. Yeah, I agree with you. I think, I also think that there are elements of this where people also exaggerate a lot of this. Like, I'm seeing a lot of comments on the first thread where people are like, people who get all this filler done, they just look weird. They just look alien. And it's like, brother, like, every person in every movie you've ever seen has had some kind of work done.
Right.
Like, the fact that you've noticed, like, 3... that means nothing. Yeah, alright. That's my commentary. I do like this comment that's like, Ryan Reynolds could never be in a period piece, because that's so true.
Yeah.
Like, imagine Ryan Reynolds as a pilgrim.
Hey, I think that'd be fun.
I mean, it'd be hilarious. Well, I don't know. It'd be Ryan Reynolds being like, I just got off the Mayflower. I don't know. I don't know what kind of fucking Joss Whedon ass quote Ryan Reynolds would do in his Pilgrim movie.
I was struggling to think of like young actors who I feel like have character actor appeal / really interesting faces. Like, I don't know.
Oh, that one guy who I like, who was in fucking West Side Story, who looks like a little rat.
Mike Faced.
I love him. I am in love with him.
I do like Mike Faced.
I'm in love with him. I think he is so sexy, and
he is more handsome than I'm talking about here, but no, okay.
No, I think he's got I mean, especially when he had long hair at one point and he could not pull that shit off.
When he was in Dear Evan Hansen.
He did not have that shit on for real. He was not slaying that. So
did you see Challengers?
I did not see Challengers.
So you didn't see him in a little towel is what I'm understanding from this conversation.
No. I thought I had discovered my own little weirdo, and then he has to go and be in the hot person movie.
Yeah, it's him and Josh O'Connor, who I think are both guys who, like, aren't necessarily, like, I don't know, they're not Jacob Elordi, but my God, Josh O'Connor, God, okay, Aubrey, you're gonna watch Challengers one day, and you're gonna be mad at me for saying this, because Josh O'Connor in Challengers is the exact type of man you'd be very unhappy to see me date.
I'm sure.
Literally the whole movie, I was like, I would do anything for him. I would do anything for him right now. I really mean, like, I don't think we're getting another Steve Buscemi again. You know what I mean? Like, who is the young Willem Dafoe? Who is the young Stephen Buscemi? Who was the young Daniel DeVito? We don't have those anymore. We don't even really have, like, Kate McCucci. Like, we don't even really have people like Judy Greer, like, in new TV shows. Because everyone just looks the damn same.
No, I know. I'm trying to think of. Give me like 60 seconds to try to do some Googling for a second.
Someone in a thread did mention Mike Face. Okay, Barry Keoghan, I think, like, his career started as someone who, like, had, like, an interesting face and was going to be a character actor, and now they've made him too...
No, then he had to go and date Sabrina Carpenter.
He's too hot now, and he's not a little freak like he was when we first met him.
Even, like, Michael Cera. Like, where's, like, the Michael Cera type guys?
Yeah.
Who am I thinking? I was thinking... who I'm really thinking of is Kyle Gallner.
Who's that?
What? Oh my god, I love Kyle Gallner. He's got the sauce. I mean, I think, is more conventionally attractive than what you're getting at, too.
Oh, he's the guy from Smile.
Yeah, and oh my god, his movie Dinner in America is so fucking good. It's a modern kind of rom-com.
He was Beaver on Veronica Mars.
But I think he kind of has elements of that. Caleb Landry Jones, I think.
Yeah, I think Caleb Landry Jones is a good example. And he's funny too because I remember when he was in
and he's super hot.
Yeah, but he's a little freak.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of that, like, freak essence. Kyle Gallner also, I think, has a little bit of that freak essence, but he has a little bit too normal of a face, whereas Caleb Landry Jones, he looks a little weird.
And there's the guy, Fred Heschinger, who was in Nickel Boys and in the new Gladiator movie, and he was the brother on the first season of The White Lotus. He's, like, a little bit of a little freak, too. But it's like, I guess I can think of, like, a handful of, like, quirked up white boys, basically. But I'm lacking young female character actresses. I need more weird-looking women. I need weird-looking woman representation in my television programming. I need comedy girlies being silly on screen. In any case, my point with all of this being, as beauty standards become more homogenized, young character actors and the roles that once celebrated them are disappearing. Now, obviously, not every TV show is now only filled with hot people that look like influencers, because no, that's not happening. We have shows like The Bear and Fleabag in Succession that are deliberately casting people who look like real people. And, like, this also doesn't mean that everyone who gets filler or Botox can't act. Obviously, Demi Moore ate down in The Substance. But as the industry and our culture continues to favor this specific kind of look, we have to ask, what are we sacrificing for this specific form of beauty? And who gets left out when we do that? And I also want to mention that, like, I don't know what young actors have and have not gotten plastic surgery unless they've explicitly talked about it. So, like I mentioned earlier, Camilla Morone was the actor in Daisy Jones and the Six who I feel like got pointed to the most as having iPhone face. And I have no idea if she's ever had cosmetic surgery or Botox or fillers or anything, or if she's just rich and looks like that. And she got nominated for an Emmy for that TV show, despite people on TikTok freaking out about her not looking like she lived in the 1970s.
I am just of the belief that any person who is on any kind of major network TV show or streaming show or movie has had some kind of work done. I just, like, truly believe that. Like legitimately, unless they look a very specific way and have said, I have not had work done, I just assume that they have.
I mean, to quote Lindsay Lohan, everyone gets Botox.
Well, in women and men, the example I always give is look at Steve Carell's hairline in season 1 of The Office.
Yeah, that's when we're going to talk about men eventually. Like, the hair stuff with men, I feel like, is probably the biggest thing along with the veneers.
Yeah.
So there are ways to achieve this sort of aesthetic that we're talking about here, the iPhone face, Instagram face, whatever aesthetic. There's a way to achieve that is not exclusive to people who get cosmetic surgery. But the issue I see here is kind of two-pronged. If you are an actor and you're getting fillers, Botox, etc., to adhere to this aesthetic, and it ends up impacting your ability to move your face, that impacts your ability to do your job. And I think because the desire to look a certain way is becoming so commonplace that the job is actually changing to allow for this loss of expression. We're, like, expecting our actors to be able to express less now in TV shows.
Well, and that's the thing, like, as an actor, is the job the acting or is the job the promotion of the acting?
And at this point in a world where people are, like, doing a lot of watching things via TikTok and Instagram, I think that balance is definitely shifting.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of these actresses specifically have young fans who might want to look like them, which might make them seek the filler Botox cosmetic surgery in order to achieve that. Now, we've been talking a lot about now, but this isn't necessarily like some crazy new issue. Shock of the century, beauty standards have always existed. And honestly, there's evidence of ancient Egyptians, Romans, and Indians doing plastic surgery.
Oh, shit, it's almost like that's something I've talked about!
Is it?
It is.
Wait, when?
Just on TikTok.
Hey, at Hoff PhD, okay. In Egypt, plastic surgery was used on corpses in the afterlife. Mourners of Ramses II, who had a large and long nose, surgically inserted bone and seeds into his nose to make sure he was recognized and received as a king in the afterlife. Sushruta is an Indian physician known for his pioneering operations and techniques, including the repairing and remaking of a nose. The Romans performed simple plastic surgery techniques to improve their image, such as repairing damaged ears. Rhinoplasties became super popular in Italy in the 15th century, and in 1895, the first documented breast augmentation surgery was performed by transplanting tissue from the back to the breast to correct asymmetry. Botox was being researched throughout the 20th century, but came into use for cosmetic procedures in the 1990s. We, however, today are not going to compare today to the 3rd century BCE, but instead to when Aubrey and I were children, 2003. So, here towards the end of our episode, we're going to talk about how beauty standards have changed, or honestly just rebranded. Because while the aesthetic has definitely evolved since the early 2000s, the pressure to conform is still alive and well, baby girl. It's just showing up differently now. So, we're going to hop into our hot tub time machine and go back to 2003 for a quick second. The reigning body ideal was ultra thin. We've talked about before that Jessica Simpson was considered fat at the time, which is what? Outrageous. Low-rise jeans were a scourge upon this planet. Paparazzi were trying to get pictures of women like Beyonce and Jennifer Lopez so they could point out the cellulite on their legs, and heroin chic was alive and well, baby. There was a major push to be skinny everywhere, except your boobies. Breast implants abounded, especially the kind that gave you very obvious high-sitting Victoria's Secret model cleavage. And these were the auspices under which Aubrey and I developed our body image. If someone did get plastic surgery at this time, they denied it, and that includes Botox. I want to make that very clear. People only recently started getting really blasé about Botox. There was this weird double standard. You were supposed to look like a fantasy, but you were not allowed to admit to any of that effort. Yeah. Botox also wasn't as popular, especially with younger actors. Facially, people still had more range of expression. There was movement, but there was also this looming fear of aging. Like I mentioned, Botox started getting used for cosmetic uses in the 1990s. So in the 2000s, you could see the rise of Botox starting, but it was still very hush-hush. Actresses would show up to red carpets looking smoother and smoother, but claim it was just good genes, or that they just drink a lot of water. And now, Aubrey, we were talking about this a little bit earlier, like how has that changed? The look has shifted, but the pressure has not. The ideal body now is this sort of like athletic, tight build that still has some amount of curve. It's giving like BBL light or Instagram fit. Think snatched waist, round butt, toned arms, flat stomach, but you still have to look like you got it all from Pilates and protein smoothies. It has to look effortless, even when it's not.
Yeah, I think very much like the Hadids have set a lot of the new standard, and like, what is her name? Emily Ratajkowski. Like that build, I think, is very in, which is, it's kind of a throwback to the 2000s, but with a little bit of a bubble butt. So it's like tall.
We're allowed butts now. We're allowed to have butts now.
So it's like tall, like long torso, long legs, perky boobs, cute round butt, but still very thin, but with a little bit of that like muscle tone to it. So it's not like that, because when you think heroin chic, right, you think of, like, very slim and almost, like, I don't want to say, like, wasting away, but that's really what it looks like, is just, like, very thin. Whereas now it's, like, quote-unquote healthier. And, yeah, like, they look like they could, like, go run around a field, you know?
Right. I think that's, like, when you were talking about sort of, like, this interplay between, like, the influencer sphere and the celebrity sphere, I think, like, I do think that, like, fitness influencer girlies are, like, imposing some of these standards now because, like, they got big old butts and little tiny waists and like, that like gym girl aesthetic. I think that's like, you know, we see so much of this like athleisure.
Pilates princess.
Yeah, like all of that like is a part of this, that like it's the Hailey Bieber protein smoothie at Erewhon. Like this like emphasis on like health means that you actually cannot be too thin because that's not healthy. You have to have this like in a weird way, we've moved from like anorexia to orthorexia, if that makes sense.
Well, and quite frankly, if you're too thin, you don't have tits or an ass anymore.
No.
And that's still part of the appeal.
And that's illegal.
I do think that we are moving away from like the big butt to more of a boob-centered society again, as evidenced by the amount of men on Reddit I see talking about mommy milkers.
Oh yeah, I think. I mean, you mentioned Emily. I mean, I think the influence of Sydney Sweeney cannot be denied.
Yeah, I mean, she just has big old boobies, and
yeah,
her face is pretty. I mean, she's a beautiful woman.
She's very pretty, and I think that like. I would argue that while cosmetic work is becoming less taboo among celebrities, there are obviously still a lot of people who deny having work done, and it's not as like open season and saying you've had plastic surgery as it is on the internet, because online all of these tweakments are content. People are vlogging their filler appointments, tagging their med spas, and talking openly about getting their tox refreshed. There are influencers who have made entire careers off of reviewing injectables and breaking down the difference between a lip flip and a lip filler.
I think what a lot of people keep secret now, particularly, I guess this isn't even in the necessarily influencer zone, but I think the big hush is like the GLPs or like any type of like weight loss treatment. Yeah. Like people are not open about that.
No, because there's still this like, I think we talked about this like effortlessness. And I think that like and like the idea about being about like health and like Pilates princess, you kind of got to seem like you worked for your weight loss still.
Yeah, like you're putting in the work, and the fact that you look so amazing is the fruits of your labor.
Exactly. So this rise of the tweakments, the non-surgical things like Botox, fillers, thread lips, and buccal fat removal among young women is a huge part of this, obviously. Bella Hadid, like Aubrey mentioned, is one of the poster girls for this aesthetic shift. She's never admitted to getting any sort of surgery, but people have analyzed her face online like it's a cold case, pointing out the alleged fox eye thread lift, the nose job, the buccal fat removal. And like I mentioned earlier with iPhone face, whether or not she or Kylie Jenner or any of these other women who people tear apart their faces actually had any of those procedures, it doesn't matter. It's the look that's being sold, and it's the impact that matters, not whether they've actually had the procedures to get that look or not. Yeah. And now that look is available to more people, not just celebrities. We talked about threading being this like lunchtime facelift. You can literally get under eye filler and go get a Botox injection on your lunch break. It's accessible in this new way that makes it feel like a subscription service. And I also think in the same vein, we've been talking about like it being like a health thing. A lot of young women online have become like little amateur dermatologists because this information is so widely available. And so I see it getting talked about online in this very like medicalized way, which I think makes people feel more detached from it, like they're addressing a medical or health issue and not just indulging in an aesthetic desire.
Well, yeah, it legitimizes it as like, this is something that you can fix, and I'm going to use this scientific sounding jargon to make it sound like I have some authority.
And like, I'll have to say, me and Aubrey are just being lazy by not getting our negative canthal tilt fixed by going and getting our faces threaded. Aubrey's shaking her head at me.
It's over for me. It's over for me.
It's so over. Cope.
And that's what's interesting though, is so part of like when all of those guys were like attacking my appearance, it's like, oh my god, wait, I thought I sent I sent a picture of before and after Bella Hadid. I thought I sent it to you, but I sent it to Josh.
What did Josh have to say about that?
He said, "Is that the same person?"
Can I see it now?
I will send it to you now. That's hilarious. Because I was like, interesting that Mackenna is not referencing the image that I've just sent her. Rude.
Yeah, I mean, she's obviously had a nose job.
Yeah. When I had all those guys attacking my appearance, like, they literally were like, oh, you've got negative canthal tilt. It's over for you, bro. Just fucking kill yourself. And it's like, I don't know. Like, I've got a husband and, like, friends and stuff, and, like, they all really like me, but, like, that's the thing, like, with these incels, right, is that they tell themselves, like, unless you look like this, no one will love you. But then, if you see somebody who looks like this, and if they do have people who love them, then that just means that they're not with high-quality people.
I don't have anyone who loves me, which is why I'm still on Hinge.com, baby. Aubrey didn't like that joke, I can tell.
You got me. You got me.
Yeah, but you're married.
For now.
There are people in my life who I'm like, oh, there's a world in which I could see them breaking up. That's not a future I personally see for you and Josh.
I don't think so. I think it's more likely that we will live long lives and then die within 1 week of each other.
Yeah, I agree. So even though all of this is becoming more common and open, the pressure to look a certain way might actually be more intense. Because now it's not about pretending you don't try, it's about proving that you're actively managing your appearance. I think we talked about what?
Sorry, I'm still fucking laughing about Josh just doing his job repairing RC cars, and then out of nowhere just gets a picture of Bella Hadid, who he doesn't even know who that is. No context from me, and that I just think that is absurd. Anyway.
But he responded just so genuinely because he loves you.
He does.
And I'm on Hinge.com.
No justice.
There's no justice.
No freedom till we're equal.
It's because I have negative canthal tilt.
I have negative canthal tilt.
Well, you overcame. It's so over for me.
And
I have
fat.
to cope.
if you think that it's over for
you, they cancel each other out.
I am proof that we can rise above brothers.
Okay. I think we talked about in the American Psycho series that this like effort and grind set is a part of like the aesthetic now. And it has obviously reached young women in that you have to be trying to look hotter and hotter and constantly trying to improve your appearance.
Because if you're trying at that, then you're not overthrowing the government like you should be.
Which is what we're doing right now. I'm making a podcast about cosmetic procedures.
Yes.
And obviously social media takes all of this to a whole new level. In 2003, people were judged by paparazzi with long lenses and flash bulbs. And now we're judging ourselves through front-facing cameras in 4K with filters that show you a version of your face that doesn't exist in real life. The TikTok bold glamour filter, we all remember that? That's a composite of all these micro enhancements. And it's like, as much as that filter like looks ridiculous on a lot of people, the vibe of it is the new baseline.
Yeah. I mean, I see TikToks constantly where someone's making like a cooking video and I see the filter on their face glitching.
Yeah.
So it's like they just have it on by default, and I just think that that's like fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, you know, listen, I'm someone who used Facetune, and I think that did like warp my perception of what I actually fucking looked like. And I think that for a lot of people, and we're gonna talk about this a little bit next episode about this idea of like Snapchat dysmorphia and selfie dysmorphia, but like people don't know what they look like anymore because they're so used to seeing themselves through this like filtered lens, and they're really uncomfortable with what their actual appearance is, and they're trying to achieve this like digitized version. I have been seeing fucking AI. I've been on my Instagram Explore page, and I have seen these images that are these like clearly AI images of people like Scarlett Johansson and Jennifer Lawrence and Elizabeth Olsen and like these like beautiful, beautiful women, and they're so clearly AI'd out, and they look scary to me. But then all of the people in the comments are being like, beautiful women, so gorgeous. And I'm like, that's not what any of these people look like. These don't look like people. You're not looking at a person right now. Why are you horny?
Well, it's almost creating like a new norm where the expectation for what you should look like, which has always been something that is unobtainable for most people, but at the very least it depicted a real life person. Now it's just gonna depict a fucking cartoon.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't know. I look at myself in those filters and I just go, ugh, that doesn't look like me. And I am someone who like has absolutely used, you know, filters on things before, and I just said I used to use Facetune. And it's like, look, fuck it, who cares? But like also, it's important to like, I think, admit to yourself that when you're doing those things, you are not accurately representing what you look like. And you are, and that is not just like, and I'm not saying that in like a way of like you're catfishing people online. I'm saying that in a way of like you're warping your own perception of what you look like. And that is going to be damaging for you in the long run.
I wonder what the academic literature looks like on filters, because I remember I was really interested in this in grad school, and it was about like 2022, and there really wasn't a ton of research on the topic yet, but I'd imagine over the past 3 years there's probably been a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I'd imagine that it's probably not difficult to conduct, but difficult to, I don't know, create any kind of advocacy from it, because the advocacy from it would be like, hey, Instagram, you should not allow face-changing filters on your app because it literally makes people want to kill themselves.
And I think we're just like with so many things with social media, I think we're just at a point where it's too far gone. Like, you know, I mean, I was using Snapchat filters that changed what my face looked like when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And so it's like I've been looking at a version of myself online that isn't what I look like for 10 years. And in a lot of ways, I'll be honest, like spending so much time on Zoom staring at myself both during the pandemic and now, since I still do a lot of work on Zoom since I'm a remote worker, has actually been very healing in some ways, because I'm just constantly seeing my face and body in motion, and like it has made me get a lot more used to my face. And obviously I'm still seeing that through like a flattened lens of a camera, but it has just made, I don't know, like seeing photos of myself. I also don't really post on Instagram so much anymore, besides when I'm trying to thirst trap men that I'm dating. But like, and hey, by the way, also now girls that I'm talking to on hinge.com, because there's a few of those right now. Also, we're so back to being bisexual, baby. But like not constantly thinking about how I'm presenting myself to the world while constantly presenting myself to the world has been freeing. And maybe I'm just getting older, but like, I don't know. So when I think about like, am I going to get Botox? Right now, I don't give a shit.
You know what something this reminds me of is you told me once about, I think like a film review person on TikTok who you used to follow, who like used a lot of filters or something, and then one day posted without the filters, and then everyone was like, whoa.
Yep. Yeah, that's the other thing is like, if you're someone who has existed in an online bubble and then you try to transition into making things into like I will say she was using filters. Some of it was fat phobia, because she just was much larger than I think people expected her to be, because she was only filming from shoulders to the top of her head. Mm-hmm. But she also, I will say, I think she was, I don't know, but to me, her face looked so different between her own videos. And obviously, like, you look different than from your own front-facing camera than you do from, like, an image of you doing interviews on a red carpet. I feel rather certain she was using some sort of, like, of the beauty tools on TikTok. But in any case, there was definitely some fat phobia going on with it. The main point here is that if you make your whole existence in the digital space and then you try to transition to some of these more traditional media outlets, you're gonna get people going, well, you don't fucking look like that. I mean, we talk about this all the time too with like, I'm sure that people, I don't know how many of you there are, but I'm sure someone out there listening to this does not know me and or Aubrey in real life. Well, I know at least some people don't know one of us. And I've had this with podcast hosts before, where it's like you see what they look like and you're like, that's not, oh my God, that's not what I was expecting the face attached to that voice to be.
Or you see an image of multiple hosts and you're like, you assign the wrong voice to the wrong person, as I did at first with LPOTL, as I thought that Marcus was Henry at first.
Oh, interesting.
When I first started listening, I saw like one picture of them and it was on, you know, their logo, and I remember thinking, I don't even know why. I think my brain was just like, oh, this voice is probably this guy and this voice is probably this guy, and I was shocked when I found that they were the opposite of who I thought.
Yeah. I remember when I first looked up what Michael Hobbs and Peter Shamshiri looked like. Peter looked exactly what I thought he was going to look like.
Gorgeous.
And Michael was a surprise to me.
Oh, I read him. I read him for Phil. I was like, in my mind, this is Michael Hobbs. And then I saw a picture and I was like, fantastic. Exactly what I created. What happens if I drink Botox?
What happens if you drink Botox? Wait, okay. what happens? Because it's like, it is botulinum toxin.
Is it real? I did not know.
Drink.
So I get an upset tummy?
Botox. Yeah, if you consume large amounts of botulinum toxins or the bacteria gets into the wound, you can develop botulism. So ladies, if you have a big facial scar, don't inject Botox directly into it, I guess.
But I want to have it in a little shot glass.
Why?
I don't know. Sounds
That's
fun.
gonna be a really expensive shot.
Sounds like it'd be fun.
All right. Next episode, we're gonna talk more about how I feel about all of this and where I think it's all going. And also, Aubrey's gonna do a shot of Botox, and we're gonna watch her die. Or you're gonna listen to her die. I'm gonna watch it happen.
Well, that's actually gonna be exclusive Patreon content.
God damn it!
If enough of you pay enough money, I will do a shot of Botox, or better yet, we'll do a poll of all the different cosmetic procedures, and whatever option gets the most money thrown at it will fund whatever cosmetic procedure I get with whatever that amount is. So if it's only $100, I have to find a place that's going to give me a canthal tilt removal for $100.
Removal? That could be removing your eyes.
It's worth it.
They took my fucking eyes. Have a question or a topic that you would like for us to discuss? Send us an email at informedattraction@gmail.com.